I always book the window seat so I can just sleep and not be bothered. But my doctor said flying in 2026 is suddenly much more dangerous for me. Why would a window seat be a hazard?
It is not a sudden change, but the medical data we are seeing in 2026 is alarming. You are unknowingly booking what flight crews quietly call the silent clot seat. According to federal health aviation guidelines, if you are over 70 years old, sitting by the window triples your risk of deep vein thrombosis.
Triples it? Just by sitting next to the wall?
Exactly. The window seat creates a psychological barrier. Seniors are often too polite and hesitant to wake up two sleeping strangers to use the restroom or stretch. This prolonged immobility leads to blood clots in the legs, which can detach and cause a fatal pulmonary embolism mid-flight. But this is just the beginning. The seat you think gives you the most legroom might actually get you legally detained before takeoff.
Legally detained? Look, I completely understand the deep vein thrombosis risk now, so I will just book the exit row. It is an aisle seat, and I get extra legroom to stretch my calves. Problem solved, right?
That is the exact trap thousands of older travelers fall into every single day. You are forgetting federal aviation regulations regarding exit rows.
I know I have to agree to help in an emergency. I just say yes when the flight attendant asks.
Saying yes is not enough anymore. Flight attendants are trained to visually and verbally assess your physical capability. If they judge that a senior passenger has any mobility hesitation, cannot lift a 50-pound door, or takes too long to answer the safety briefing, Federal Aviation Administration rules mandate immediate reassignment. If you argue, which happens often, you can be removed from the aircraft entirely for failing to comply with crew instructions. But there is a much safer way to get that legroom, which I will reveal in a moment. First, we need to talk about a hidden medical danger at the very front of the plane.
This is exhausting. No window seat, no exit row. What about the very first row behind first class? The bulkhead. No one can recline into me, and I can put my emergency medication right at my feet.
That is a dangerous assumption. Federal regulations strictly prohibit any items on the floor in the bulkhead row during taxi, takeoff, and landing. Everything, including your essential medication, must be stowed in the overhead bins.
But what if I need my heart pills or inhaler while the plane is climbing and the seatbelt sign is still on? The crew will not let me stand up.
They absolutely will not let you stand up. You will be stuck in a critical phase of flight without your life-saving medication. Not to mention, bulkhead seats have rigid armrests containing the tray tables, making it physically painful for passengers with arthritis to slide in and out.
Okay, I am running out of safe options. What about the very back of the plane? It is usually cheaper anyway.
The back row is what insiders call the turbulence and pain seat. It is located behind the wings, where the aircraft's pivot point amplifies every single bump in the sky. If you have any spinal or back issues, the continuous tail whipping will severely aggravate your pain. Plus, those seats do not recline, and you are trapped next to the lavatory line, exposing you to constant bumps, noise, and airborne pathogens.
So where exactly am I supposed to sit? If I just take whatever random middle seat the airline gives me to save money, is that fine?
The middle seat is the absolute worst for senior health. It creates a massive dehydration trap. Because you are boxed in on both sides, psychological pressure causes you to actively drink less water so you do not have to ask two people to move. Immobility combined with severe dehydration at 35,000 feet is a recipe for a medical emergency.
All right, tell me the absolute best strategy so I do not make these mistakes.
You must book an aisle seat in the middle third of the cabin, directly over the wings. This provides the smoothest ride, minimizes turbulence shock on your spine, and guarantees unrestricted access to the restroom. If you accidentally book a bad seat, you must use the Department of Transportation 24-hour rule. If you book directly with the airline at least 7 days before your flight, federal law mandates they must give you a 100% full refund if you cancel within 24 hours. Use this window to lock in the perfect seat and cancel if you are forced into a dangerous one.
Okay, so I book the aisle seat over the wings. But wait, what if I get one of those seats where the air conditioning just blasts on me? I am terrified of catching pneumonia, especially since airlines changed their ventilation rules this year.
You are referring to the thermal disconnection phenomenon, a highly guarded secret in 2026. Under recent Department of Transportation efficiency updates, new aircraft models route extreme high-velocity cooling directly over seats in rows 12 through 16 to combat electronics overheating in the lower cargo hold.
They freeze passengers just to keep their computers cool? Why wouldn't they warn us about this?
Because warning passengers would crater ticket sales for those specific rows. Airlines classify it as optimized cabin thermodynamics. For a healthy young traveler, it is chilly. For a 75-year-old passenger with compromised circulation or a weakened immune system, sitting in that localized freeze zone lowers your core body temperature drastically during a 5-hour flight.
So, if I end up in row 14, I just have to suffer and risk hypothermia?
Worse. Closing your overhead air nozzle does absolutely nothing because this chill radiates from the fuselage sidewall and the subfloor ventilation returns. But there is a deadly mistake people make when they try to move away from those cold spots. It involves a seat position airlines actively lie about during the booking process.
Lie about? How can they lie about a seat? A seat is just a seat.
They sell you the windowless window seat. Airlines intentionally do not flag these on their own booking maps. Seat 11A or 12A on many modern jets is just a blank, solid wall where the aircraft's internal air ducts are routed.
Okay, so I just don't get a view. Why is that physically dangerous?
Because of extreme spatial disorientation. Without a visible horizon line, older passengers traveling through turbulent airspace can suffer from acute motion sickness and debilitating vertigo. Before you ever pay for a seat, you must cross-reference your flight number on third-party tracking sites to expose these hidden phantom seats.